morning, Woodcutter.
Good morning.
Good morning, Woodcutter.
Good morning.
Don't you ever say anything except good morning?
Sometimes I say goodbye.
You are a cross Woodcutter today.
I have work to do, Princess.
You are still cutting wood? Don't you ever do anything else?
Well, you are still Princess. Don't you ever do anything else?
Now, that's not fair, Woodcutter. You can't say I was a princess yesterday when I came and helped you stack your wood, or the day before when I tied up your hand where you had cut it, or the day before that when we had our meal together on the grass. Was I a princess then?
Somehow, I think you were. Somehow, I think you were saying to yourself, isn't it sweet of a princess to treat a mere woodcutter like this?
I think you're perfectly horrid. I've a good mind never to speak to you again. And I would, if only I could be sure that you would notice I wasn't speaking to you.
After all, I'm just as bad as you. Only yesterday, I was thinking to myself how unselfish I was to interrupt my work in order to talk to a mere princess.
Yes, but the trouble is that you don't interrupt your work.
Madam, I'm at your service.
I wish I thought you were.
Surely you have enough people at your service already. Princes and chancellors and chamberlains and waiting maids.
Yes, that's just it. That's why I want your help, particularly in the matter of the princes.
Why? Has a suitor come for the hand of her Royal Highness?
3 suitors, and I hate them all.
And which are you going to marry?
I don't know. Father hasn't made up his mind yet.
And this is a matter which Father, which His Majesty decides for himself.
Why, of course. You should read the history books, Woodcutter. The suitors to the hand of a princess are always set some trial of strength or test of quality by the king, and the winner marries his daughter.
Well, I don't live in a palace, and I think my own thoughts about these things. I'd better get back to my work.
Woodcutter?
Oh, are you there? I thought you were married by this time.
I don't want to be married. I mean, not to any of those 3.
You can't help yourself.
I know. That's why I wanted you to help me.
Can a simple woodcutter help a princess?
Well, perhaps a simple one couldn't, but a clever one might.
What would his reward be?
His reward would be that the princess, not being married to any of her 3 suitors, would still be able to help him chop his wood in the mornings. I am helping you, aren't I?
Oh, decidedly.
Thought I was.
It is kind of a great lady like yourself to help so humble a fellow as I.
I'm not very great.
There's enough of you to make 100 men unhappy.
And 1 man happy?
And 1 man very, very happy.
I wonder who he'll be. Woodcutter, if you were a prince, would you be my suitor?
1 of 3.
Ooh, would you kill the others? With that axe?
I would not kill them in order to help His Majesty make up his mind about his son-in-law. But if the princess had made up her mind and wanted me,
Yes.
then I would marry her, however many suitors she had.
Well, she's only got 3 at present.
What is that to me?
Oh, I just thought you might want to be doing something to your axe.
My axe?
Yes. You see, she has made up her mind.
You mean, but Princess, but I'm only a woodcutter.
That's why you have the advantage of them when it comes to axes.
Princess, my princess.
Woodcutter, my oh so very slow and uncomprehending, but entirely adorable woodcutter.
But what will His Majesty say?
All sorts of things. Do you really love me, woodcutter, or have I proposed to you under a misapprehension?
I adore you.
I thought you did, but I just wanted to hear you say it. If I had been a simple peasant, I suppose you would have said it a long time ago?
I expect so.
Yes. Well, now we must think of a plan for making mother like you.
Might I just kiss you again before we begin?
Well, I don't quite see how I am to stop you.
Mwah. There.
Woodcutter, why didn't you do that the first day I saw you? Then I needn't have had the bother of proposing to you. What is it?
Somebody coming. The king.
Oh, I must fly.
But you'll come back.
Perhaps.
And a seat all ready for us. How satisfying.
I do not know why you have dragged me here.
As I told you, my love, to be alone.
Oh, well, you are not alone.
Oh, phew, he doesn't matter. Well, now, about these three princes. They are getting on my mind, rather. It's time we decided which one of them is to marry our beloved child. The trouble is to choose between them.
Well, as regards appetite, there is nothing to choose between them. They are three of the heartiest eaters I have met for some time.
You are right. The sooner we choose one of them and send the other two about their business, the better.
Oh, yes.
There were 6 peaches on the breakfast table this morning. Did I get one? No.
Well, did I get one? No.
Did our darling child get one? Not that it matters, but no.
Oh, it is a pity that the 7-headed bull died last year. Oh,
Yes, he had a way of sorting out competitors for the hand of our beloved one that was beyond all praise. One could have felt quite sure that had the 3 competitors been introduced to him, only one of them would have taken any further interest in the matter.
And even he might not have taken any interest in his meals.
However, those days are over. We must think of a new test. Somehow I think that in a son-in-law, moral worth is more to be desired than mere brute strength. Now, my suggestion is this, that you should disguise yourself as a beggar woman and approach each of the 3 princes in turn, supplicating their charity. In this way, we shall discover which of the 3 has the kindest heart. What do you say, my dear?
Oh, an excellent plan. If you remember, I suggested it myself yesterday.
Well, of course, it had been on my mind for some time. I don't claim that the idea was original. It has often been done in our family. Well then, if you will get ready, my dear, I will go and find our 3 friends and see that they come this way.
Well, Woodcutter, what did I tell you?
What did you tell me?
Didn't you listen to what they said?
I didn't listen, but I couldn't help hearing.
Well, I couldn't help listening. And unless you stop it somehow, I shall be married to one of them tonight.
Which one?
The one with the kindest heart. whichever that is.
Supposing they all three have kind hearts.
They won't. They never have. In our circles, when three princes come together, one of them has a kind heart and the other two haven't. Haven't you read any history at all?
I have no time for reading, but I think it's time history was altered a little. We'll alter it this afternoon.
What do you mean?
Leave this to me. I've got an idea.
Oh, how clever of you. But what do you want me to do?
You know the glade over there, where the brook runs through it? Wait for me there.
I obey my lord's commands.
Hello? Fellow? I said fellow.
Were you speaking to me, my lord?
There is no other fellow here that I can see.
Yes, you must have meant me.
Of course, I meant you. Fellow, have you seen the princess come past this way? I was told she was waiting for me here.
She's not here, my lord. My lord, are you one of the princes who is seeking the hand of the princess?
I am, fellow.
His Majesty the King was here a while ago. He is to make his decision between you this afternoon. I think I could help you be the lucky one, my lord.
You suggest that I take an unfair advantage over my fellow competitors?
I suggest nothing, my lord. I only say that I can help you.
Well, I will allow you to help me.
Thank you. Then I will give you this advice. If a beggar woman asks you for a crust of bread this afternoon, remember, it is the test.
The test? But I haven't got a crust of bread.
Wait here, and I will get you one.
My good fellow, I'm extremely obliged to you, and if ever I could do anything for you, such as returning a crust to you of similar size, or even lending you another one slightly smaller, or thank you, my man. Thank you.
I would suggest, my lord, that you should take a short walk in this direction and stroll back casually in a few minutes' time when the Queen is here.
Thank you, my man. Thank you. Oh.
Hello?
Hello,
What do you want?
the princess?
She's not here.
Oh.
Are you one of the princes who is wooing the princess?
Yes.
I believe I could help your Royal Highness.
Do.
It would perhaps be not quite fair to the others.
Don't mind.
Well then, listen.
I'm listening.
If you come back in 5 minutes, you'll see a beggar woman sitting here. She will ask you for a crust of bread. You must give it to her, for it is the way His Majesty has chosen of testing your kindness of heart.
No bread.
I will give you some.
Do.
Here you are.
Thanks.
Not at all. I'm very glad to have been able to help you.
Thanks. my man. Come hither.
You want me, sir?
Come hither, my man. Tell me, has Her Royal Highness the Princess come this way?
The princess?
Yes, the princess, my bumpkin. But perhaps you've been too much concerned in your own earthly affairs to have noticed her. You, cut wood, I see.
Yes, sir. I am a woodcutter.
A most absorbing life. Someday we must have a long talk about it. But just now I have other business waiting for me. With your permission, good friend, I will leave you to your branches.
Beg your pardon, sir, but are you one of those princes that want to marry our princess?
Oh, I had hoped, good friend, to obtain your permission to do so. I beg you not to refuse it.
You are making fun of me, sir.
Oh, discerning creature.
All the same, I can help you.
Oh, then pray do so, log chopper, and earn my everlasting gratitude.
The king has decided that whichever of you three princes has the kindest heart shall marry his daughter.
Well, then you will be able to bear witness to him that I have already wasted several minutes of my valuable time in condescending to a mere log splitter. Tell him this, and the prize is mine. Princess, I embrace you.
The king will not listen to me, but if you return here in 5 minutes, you will find an old woman begging for bread. It is the test which their majesties have arranged for you. If you share your last crust with her...
Yes, but do I look as if I carried a last crust about me?
But see, I will give you one.
Ugh. Yes, but...
It's in your pocket, and when...
But my dear bark scraper, have you no feeling for clothes at all? How can I put a thing like this in my pocket? I beg you, wrap it up. Here, take this. Neatly, I pray you. Oh, perhaps a little of this around it would make it more tolerable. I think so. I leave it entirely up to you. I trust your taste entirely. Oh, leaving a little loop for the finger, so I entreat you. In about 5 minutes, you say. Oh, we will be there. We thank you.
Now then, my love, if you will sit down on that log there. Excellent. I think perhaps you should remove the crown.
Oh, bother.
There. Now the disguise is perfect.
You are sure they are coming? Oh, it is a very uncomfortable seat.
I told them that the princess was waiting for them here. Their natural disappointment at finding I was mistaken will make the test of their good nature an even more exacting one. My own impression is that the yellow prince will be the victor.
Oh, I hate that man.
Well, perhaps it will be the blue one.
Oh, if anything, I dislike him more intensely.
Or even the red one.
Oh, I cannot bear him.
Fortunately, dear, you are not called upon to marry any of them. It is for our darling that we are making this great decision. Listen, I hear one coming. I will hide in the college and take note of what happens.
Oh, sir, can you kindly spare a crust of bread for a poor old woman. Oh, please, pretty gentleman.
Bread, bread, ah, bread.
Oh, thank you, sir. May you be rewarded for your gentle heart.
Thank you,
A blessing on you, sir.
thank you, bread.
You have saved the life of a poor old woman.
Eat it.
Huh?
What?
Oh, sir, I'm almost too happy to eat. Leave a poor old woman alone with her happiness. And
Not too happy, too weak. Here, let me help you eat.
Oh,
Good, good again. Now, last piece.
oh.
Good, better now.
Much
Day.
good
Oh,
day, kind gentleman. Oh.
a small piece left over. Bye.
Oh, ugh, what a man.
Well, my dear, we have discovered the winner.
That detestable person.
The rest of the competition is, of course, more in the nature of a formality.
Well, thank goodness.
However, I think it will prevent unnecessary discussion afterwards if we... Oh, take care. Here's another one.
Ooh.
Oh,
Oh, sir. Oh, sir, could you spare a crust of bread for a poor, hungry old woman?
a crust of bread? Certainly, as luck will have it, I happen to have a crust on me. My last one, but your need is greater than mine. Eat it, I pray you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Not at all. Come, eat. Let me have the pleasure of seeing you eat.
Oh, might I take it home with me, pretty gentleman?
No, I must see you eating. Come, I will take no denial.
Thank you, sir. Oh, won't you share it with me?
No, I insist on your having it all. I am in the mood to be generous. Oblige me by eating it now, for I am in a hurry. Yet I will not go until you have eaten. You eat but slowly. Did you deceive me when you said you were hungry?
Oh, no, I am very hungry.
That's better. Now, understand, however poor I am, I can always find a crust of bread for an old woman. Always. Remember that when next you are hungry. Finished?
Yes, thank you, pretty gentleman.
There's a piece on the ground that you dropped. Finished?
Yes, thank you, pretty gentleman.
Then I will leave you, madam. good morning.
If I have to eat one more piece of
You
bread, I
must.
am going to bust.
My dear, you must. Oh, here comes the other one. Take care.
Oh, my poor woman, you are in distress. It pains me to see it, madam. It pains me terribly. Can it be that you're hungry? Oh, I thought so, I thought so. Give me the great pleasure, madam, of relieving your hunger. See, my own poor meal. Take it. It is yours.
I am not hungry.
Ah, madam, I see what it is. You do not wish to deprive me. You tell yourself perchance that it is not fitting that one of your station in life should partake of the meals of the highly born. You are not used, you say, to the food of princes. Your young, rougher palate.
Did you say the food of princes?
Where was I, madam? You interrupted me. No matter, eat.
Oh, oh, oh.
Now I remember I was saying that your rougher palate.
No, 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 no. Bread, no.
Good, madam, the staff of life. Come, madam, will
no.
you not eat? What can be more delightful than a crust of bread by the wayside?
Quick, quick, find the princess.
Find the princess, find the princess. Ah, yes.
Go to her, but don't show that you know me.
Father!
Oh, my dear, you're just in time. Your mother she's just,
My mother?
yeah, yes, a little plan of mine. Oh, well, of hers. Your poor mother, dear.
But what's the matter?
She's suffering from a surfeit of bread.
Poor old woman, she has fainted from exhaustion. Let me give her some.
No, not bread. I will not have any more bread.
Drink this, my poor woman.
Did you say drink? Oh.
Oh, sir, you have saved my mother's life.
Not at all.
I thank you, my man. I thank you.
Oh, my deliverer! Tell me who you are.
It is my mother, the queen, who asks you.
The queen.
Yes, certainly, the queen.
Pardon, your majesty. I'm a woodcutter who lives alone here, far away from courts.
Well, you have got more sense in your head than any of the princes that I have seen lately. You had better come to court. Yes.
You will be very welcome, sir.
Oh, and you had better marry the princess.
Isn't that going a little too far, perhaps, dear?
Well, you wanted kindness of heart in a son-in-law, and you have got it. And he's got common sense, too. A woodcutter, tell me, what do you think of bread as a form of nourishment?
One can have too much of it.
Exactly my view. There you are, you see.
Ah, well, if you insist. The great thing, of course, is that our darling child should be happy.
I will do my best, Father.
Then the marriage will take place this evening. Let the revels begin.
3 guesses who it is.
The Archbishop of Canterbury.
No.
The Archbishop of York.
Fortunately, that exhausts the archbishops. Now then, your last guess.
Richard Meryton, MP.
Wonderful. How did you know?
Well, it couldn't have been father.
No, I suppose not. Not just after breakfast, anyway. Anything in the paper?
There's a letter from father pointing out that
I never knew such a man as Robert for pointing out.
anyhow, it's in big print.
It would be.
You're very cynical this morning, Dick.
Mm. The sausages were cold, dear.
Poor Dick. Oh, Dick, I wish you were on the same side as father.
But he's on the wrong side. Surely I've told you that before. Viola, do you really think it would make a difference?
Well, you know what he said about you at Basingstoke the other day.
No, I don't really.
He said that your intellectual arrogance was only equaled by your spiritual instability. I don't quite know what it means, but it doesn't sound like the sort of thing you want in a son-in-law.
Still, it was friendly of him to go right away to Basingstoke to say it. Anyhow, you don't believe it.
Of course not.
And Robert doesn't really.
Then why does he say it?
Now you're opening up very grave questions. The whole structure of the British Constitution rests upon Robert's right to say things like that at Basingstoke. But really, darling, we're very good friends. He's always asking my advice about things. He doesn't take it, of course, but still he asks it. And it was awfully good of him to insist on my staying here while my flat was being done up. I bless him for that. If it hadn't been for the last week, I should never have known you. You were just Viola, the girl I'd seen at odd times since she was a child. Now, oh, why won't you let me tell your father? I hate it like this.
Because I love you, Dick, and because I know father. He would, as they say in novels, show you the door. And I want you on this side of the door for a little bit longer.
Mm. I shall tell him before I go.
But not until then. That gives us 2 more days. You see, darling, it's going to take me all I know to get around him. You see, apart from politics, you're so poor, and father hates poor people.
Damn money!
I think that is what father means by spiritual instability.
Viola, look out.
Matches?
Thanks very much.
Oh, Richard, good morning. Are you just down?
Good morning. I did warn you, didn't I, that I was bad at breakfasts?
Viola, where is your mother?
I don't know, father. Do you want her?
I wish to speak to her.
All right, I'll tell her.
Richard, why don't you get something to do?
My dear fellow, I've only just finished breakfast.
I mean, generally. And apart, of course, from your work in the house.
I have something to do.
Oh, reviewing. I meant something serious. You should get a directorship or something in the city.
I hate the city.
There, my dear Richard, is that intellectual arrogance to which I had to call attention the other day at Basingstoke.
Yes, so Viola was telling me.
You understood, my dear fellow, that I meant nothing personal. It is justly one of the proudest boasts of the Englishman that his political enmities are not allowed to interfere with his private friendships.
Oh, and I shall go to Basingstoke myself one day.
Good morning, Mr. Meryton. I do hope your breakfast was all right.
Excellent. Thank you.
That's right. Did you want me, dear?
Richard, what are your plans?
Is he trying to get rid of me, Mrs. Crawshaw?
Of course not. Oh, are you, dear?
Perhaps we had better go into my room, Margaret. We could leave Richard here with the paper.
No, I'm going.
I have some particular business to discuss. If you aren't going out, I should like to consult you in the matter afterwards.
Right.
Sit down, Margaret. I have some extraordinary news for you.
Oh, yes, Robert.
This letter just came by hand. 199 Lincoln Inn Fields. Dear Sir, I have the pleasure to inform you that under the will of the late Mr. Anthony Clifton, you are a beneficiary to the extent of £50,000.
Robert!
Wait, a trifling condition is attached, namely that you should have to take the name of Wurzel-Flummery. I have the honor to be your obedient servant, Dennis Clifton.
Robert, whoever is he? I mean, the one who's left you the money.
I haven't the slightest idea, Margaret. Doubtless, we will find out before long. I've asked Mr. Dennis Clifton to come and see me.
Leaving you £50,000. Just fancy.
Wurzel-Flummery.
We can have the second car now, dear, can't we? And what about moving? You always said we ought to be in a more central part. Mr. Robert Crawshaw, MP of Curzon Street, sounds so much more cabinety.
Mr. Robert Wurzel-Flummery, MP of Curzon Street. I don't know what that sounds like.
I expect that's only a legal way of putting it, dear. They can't expect us to change our name to Wurzel-Flummery.
Wurzel-Flummery.
Yes, dear, that's what I said. I'm sure you could talk the solicitor round this Mr. Dennis Clifton. After all, it doesn't matter to him what we call ourselves. Write him one of your letters, dear.
You don't seem to apprehend the situation, Margaret.
Oh, yes, I do, dear. This Mr.
Anthony Clifton.
Yes, he's left you £50,000, together with the name of Wurzel-Flummery.
Oh, never mind.
Yes, well, you tell the solicitor that we will take the £50,000, but we don't want the name. It's too absurd. When everybody knows of Robert Crawshaw, MP, to expect to call yourself Wurzel-Flummery.
Yes. The point of this is Mr. Clifton has left me the money on the condition that I change my name. If I don't take the name, I don't take the money.
Oh, but is that legal?
Perfectly. It's often done. People change their names on succeeding to some property.
I thought that was only when your name was Moses and you changed it to Talbot.
Wurzel-Flummery.
I wonder why he left you the money at all. I mean, it's very kind of him, but if you didn't know him, why do you think he did it, dear?
I know no more better than the letter. I suppose he followed my career and was interested in it. Being a man with no relations, felt he could safely leave his money to me. No doubt Wurzel-Flummery was his mother's maiden name, or the name of some other friend even dearer to him. He wished the name perpetuated, perhaps even recorded, not unworthily in the history of our country, and made this will accordingly. In a way, it's kind of a sacred trust.
Then, of course, you'll accept it, dear.
Requires some consideration. I have my career to think about, my duty to my country.
Oh, of course, dear. Money is a great help in politics, isn't it, dear?
Money wisely spent is a help in any profession. The view of riches which socialists and such like people profess to take is entirely ill-considered. A rich man who spends his money thoughtfully is serving his country as nobly as anybody.
Oh, of course. Yes, dear. Then you think we could have that second car and the house on Curzon Street?
We must not be led astray. £50,000 properly invested is only $2,000 a year. When you have deducted the income tax, and the income tax on unearned income is extremely high just now.
Oh, but surely, if we have to call ourselves Wurzel-Flummery, then it should count as earned income.
I fear not. Strictly speaking, all money is earned. Even if it's left to you by another, it is presumably left to you in recognition of a certain outstanding qualities which you possess. But Parliament takes a different view. I do not for a moment say that £50,000 would not be welcome.
Oh, no.
£50,000 is certainly not to be sneezed at.
Oh, I should think not, indeed.
And without this preposterous condition attached, I should be pleased to accept this trust, and I would endeavor, Mr. Speaker. I would, Margaret, to carry out to the best of my poor ability. But Wurzel-Flummery?
You would soon get used to it, dear. I had to get used to the name of Crawshaw after I'd been Debenham for nearly 25 years. It's surprising how quickly it comes to you. I think I only signed my name once, Margaret Debenham, once I was married.
The cases are rather different, Margaret. Naturally, a woman who from her cradle looks forward to the day when she will change her name cannot have this feeling for the honor of his name, which every man feels. Such a feeling is naturally more present in my own case, since I've been privileged to make the name of Crawshaw in some degree well known. I might almost say famous.
I used to be called the beautiful Miss Debenham of Leamington. Everybody in Leamington knew of me. But of course, I'm honoured to be Mrs. Robert Crawshaw.
In a way, it would mean beginning all over. Half the battle for politics to get your name before the public. Whoever is this man Wurzel-Flummery, people will say.
Anyhow, dear, let's look on the bright side. £50,000 is £50,000.
It is, Margaret, and no doubt it's my duty to accept it. But, well, all I say is that a gentleman would have left it without any conditions, or at least he would have merely expressed his wish that I should take the name without going so far as to enforce it. Then I could have looked at the matter all around in an impartial spirit.
The linen is marked RMC now. Of course, we should have to have that altered. Do you think RMF would do, or does it need to be RMW-F?
What? Oh, yes, there'll be a great deal of that to attend to. I think, Margaret, I'd better talk to Richard about this. Of course, it would be absurd to refuse the money, but well, I should like to have his opinion.
Oh, do you think he would be very sympathetic, dear? He makes jokes about serious things, like bishops and hunting, just as if they were not at all serious.
I wish to talk to him just to obtain a new point of view. I don't hold myself at the least bound to act on anything he says. I regard him as a constituent, Margaret.
Then I will send him to you.
Margaret, what do you really feel about it?
Oh, whatever you feel, Robert.
Thank you, Margaret. You're a good wife to me. Clifton. That's funny.
Well, what's the news? Been left a fortune?
Yes, by a Mr. Anthony Clifton. I never met him, and I know nothing about him.
Not really. Well, I congratulate you. To them that hath. But what on earth do you want my advice about?
There's a slight condition attached.
Oh ho!
The condition is that with this money, £50,000, I take the name of Wurzel-Flummery.
What?
I said it quite distinctly. Wurzel-Flummery.
Mr. Robert Wurzel-Flummery, MP, one of the most prominent of our younger parliamentarians. Oh, you! Oh, how too heavenly!
Shall we discuss it seriously or shall we leave it?
How can we discuss a name like Wurzel-Flummery seriously? Mr. Wurzel-Flummery, in a few well-chosen words, seconded the motion. Sir, went on Mr. Wurzel-Flummery. Oh, poor Robert.
You seem quite certain that I shall take the money.
I am quite certain.
Would you take it?
Well, I wonder.
After all, as William Shakespeare says, what's in a name?
I can tell you something else that William Shakespeare said. Who steals my purse with 50,000 in it steals trash. Trash, Robert. But he who filches from me my good name of Crawshaw and substitutes the rotten one of Wurzel.
As a matter of fact, Wurzel-Flummery is a very good old name. I seem to remember some Hampshire Wurzel-Flummerys. It's a very laudable spirit on the part of a dying man to wish to perpetuate these old English names. It all seems to me quite natural and straightforward. If I take this money, I shall have nothing to be ashamed of.
I see. Look here. May I ask you a few questions? I should like to know just how you feel about the whole business.
Go ahead.
Suppose a stranger came up in the street to you and said, "My poor man, here's £5 for you." What would you do? Tell him to go straight to the devil, I suppose, wouldn't you?
In more parliamentary language, perhaps, Richard. I should tell him I never took money from strangers.
Quite so. But that if it were £10,000, you would take it.
I most certainly shouldn't.
But if he died and left it to you, then you would?
Ah, I thought you were leading up to that. That, of course, is entirely different.
Why?
Well, wouldn't you take 10,000 pounds if it were left to you by a stranger?
I dare say I should. But I should like to know why it would seem different.
Well, in the first place, when a man is dead, he wants his money no longer. You can therefore be certain that you're not likely taking anything from him which he cannot spare. And in the second place, it's the man's dying wish that you should have the money. To refuse it would be to refuse the dead. To accept becomes almost a sacred duty.
It really comes to this, doesn't it? You won't take it from him when he's alive, because if you did, you couldn't decently refuse him a little gratitude. But you know that it doesn't matter a damn to him what happens to his money after he's dead, and therefore you can take it without feeling any gratitude
No,
at all.
I shouldn't put it like that.
I'm sure you wouldn't, Robert.
No doubt you can twist it about.
Oh, all right. We'll leave that and go on to the next point. Suppose a perfect stranger offered you £5 to part your hair down the middle, shave off your mustache, and wear only one whisker. If he met you suddenly in the street, seemed to dislike your appearance, took out a fiver, and begged you to hurry off and alter yourself, of course you'd pocket the money and go straight to your barber's?
Now you're being merely offensive.
I beg your pardon. I should have said that if he had left you £5 in his will, then 20 pounds, £100, £1,000, £50,000. It's only a question of price. £50,000, Robert. A pink tie with purple spots, hair across the back, trousers with a patch in the seat. Call myself Wurzel-Flummery. Any old thing you like. You can't insult me. Anything you like, gentlemen, for £50,000. Only you must leave it in your will, and then I can feel that it is a sacred duty, my lords and gentlemen.
It is evidently useless to prolong this conversation.
No, Robert. I've finished. I just took the other side and I got carried away. I ought to have been at the bar.
You take such extraordinary views of things. You must look facts in the face, Richard. This is a modern world. We are modern people living in it. Take the matter-of-fact view. You may like or dislike the name of Wurzel-Flummery, but you can't get away from the fact that £50,000 is not to be sneezed at.
I don't know why people shouldn't sneeze at money sometimes. I should like to start a society for sneezing at £50,000. We'd have to begin in a small way, of course. We'd begin by sneezing at £5 and work up. The trouble is that we're all inoculated in our cradles against that kind of cold.
You will have your little joke, but you know as well as I do, it is only a joke. There can be no serious reason why I shouldn't take this money. And I gather that you don't think it will affect my career?
Not a bit. It'll help it. It'll get you into all the comic papers.
Well, have you told him?
I have heard the news, Mrs. Crawshaw, and I have told Robert my opinion that he should have no difficulty in making the name of Wurzel-Flummery as famous as he has already made that of Crawshaw. At any rate, I hope he will.
How nice of you.
Well, that settles it then. That solicitor fellow should be here soon. Perhaps after all, we can manage something about, Viola, did you want your mother?
Sorry, do I interrupt a family meeting? There's Richard, so it can't be very serious.
What a reputation.
Well, it's over now.
Viola had better know, hadn't she?
She'll have to know sometime, of course.
Of course she will, so you better tell her now. I knew there was something exciting going on this morning.
Margaret, perhaps you'd better tell her, dear.
Oh, Father has come into some property, Viola. Unfortunately, it means we will have to change our names, but Father doesn't think it will matter.
How thrilling. What's the name, Mother?
Worsley. Oh, I should never remember.
Wurzel-Flummery.
Dick, you tell me if nobody else will.
Robert said it just now.
That wasn't a name, was it? I thought it was just a... Do say it again, Father.
Wurzel-Flummery.
Do you spell it like that? I mean, like Wurzel and like Flummery?
Exactly, I believe.
Miss Viola Wurzel-Flummery. I mean, they'd have to look at you, wouldn't they? Oh, Dick, what a heavenly name. Who had it first?
They are an old Hampshire family. That is so, isn't it, Robert?
I said I thought I remembered. Margaret, can you find Burke there?
Oh, well, Viola, you haven't told us how you like being called Miss Wurzel-Flummery.
I haven't realized myself yet, Mummy. I shall have to stand in front of my glass and tell myself who I am.
It's all right for you, Viola. You know, you'll change your name one day, and then it won't matter what you've been called before.
Shh. Oh, won't it? It's got to appear in the papers. A marriage has been arranged between Miss Viola Wurzel-Flummery, and everybody will say, about time too. Poor girl.
Have you found it, dear?
This is the 1912 edition.
Oh, still, dear, if it's a very old family, it ought to be in by then.
I don't mind how old it is. I think it's lovely. Oh, Dick, what fun it will be being announced. Just think of the footman throwing open the door and saying,
Mr. Dennis Clifton.
Oh. How do you do, Mr. Clifton? Very good of you to come. That is Mr. Dennis Clifton, the solicitor?
It is. I must apologize for not looking the part more, but my clothes did not arrive from Clarkson's in time. Very careless of them when they had promised. And my clerk dissuaded me from the side whiskers, which I keep by me for these occasions.
Yes, quite so. But you have full legal authority to act in this matter?
Oh, decidedly. Oh, there's no question of that.
Dear, my wife, my daughter, and my friend, Mr. Richard Meriton.
Dear me, Mr. Meriton, too. This is quite a situation, as we say in the profession.
In the legal profession?
In the theatrical profession. I'm a writer of plays, Mrs. Crawshaw. I'm not giving away a professional secret when I tell you that most of the managers in London have thanked me for submitting my work to them.
I understood, Mr. Clifton, that you were the solicitor employed to wind up the affair of the late Mr. Anthony Clifton.
Oh, certainly. Oh, there's no doubt about my being a solicitor. My clerk, a man of the utmost integrity, not to say probity, would give me a reference. I'm in the books. I belong to the Law Society. But my heart turns elsewhere. Officially, I have embraced the profession of solicitor, but you know how those official embraces are.
Oh, I'm afraid.
Unofficially, Mr. Meriton, I'm wedded to the muses.
Dick, isn't he lovely?
Quite so, but just for the moment, Mr. Clifton, I take it that we are concerned with legal business. Should I ever wish to produce a play, the case would be different.
Admirably put. Pray, regard me entirely as the solicitor for as long as you wish. Mr. Dennis Clifton was superb as a solicitor, in spite of an indifferent makeup. His manner of taking off his gloves and dropping them into his hat could only be described as magnificent.
Oh, I think perhaps Viola and I should be in.
We'll leave you to your business, Robert.
Just one moment, if I may. I have a letter for you, Mr. Meriton.
For me?
Yes, my clerk, a man of the utmost integrity. Oh, but I said that before. He took around to your rooms this morning, but only found painters and decorators there. I brought it along, hoping that Mr. Crawshaw, but of course I never expected anything so delightful as this.
Thanks.
Oh, but do read it now, won't you? One rarely has an opportunity of being present when one's own letters are read. I think the habit they have on stage of reading letters aloud to each other is a delightful one.
Good Lord!
Dick, what is it?
A 199 Lincoln's Inn Fields, dear sir. I have the pleasure to inform you that under the will of the late Mr. Anthony Clifton, you are a beneficiary to the extent of £50,000.
Dick!
A trifling condition is attached, namely that you should take the name of Wurzel-Flummery.
That's impossible. Why should he leave any money to you?
Dick, how wonderful.
I don't remember ever having a morning quite like this.
Is this a joke, Mr. Clifton?
Oh, the money's there, all right. My clerk, a man.
Then I refuse it. I'll have nothing to do with it. I won't even argue about it. This is what I think of your money.
Dick? Oh, but Mother, he mustn't. Oh, I must
really?
tell him.
Really, Mr. Clifton, I'm surprised at you.
And now, Mr. Crawshaw, we are alone.
Yes, well, I think, Mr. Clifton, you have a great deal.
My dear
to
sir,
expect.
I am longing to begin. I've been looking forward to this day for weeks. I spent over an hour this morning dressing for it. Perhaps I had better begin from the beginning.
The documents in the case?
Oh, dear, no. Just something to carry in the hand. It makes one look, more like a solicitor. Watherston v. Towser in Re Great Missenden Canal Company. My clerk invents the titles. Keeps him busy. He's very fond of Towser. Towser's always coming in. You see, Mr. Crawshaw, this is my first real case, and I only got it because Anthony Clifton was my uncle. My efforts to introduce a little picturesqueness into the dull formalities of the law do not meet with that response that one would have expected.
Yes, well, I'm a busy man, and if you could tell me as shortly as possible why your uncle left this money to me, and apparently to Mr. Merton too, under these extraordinary conditions, I should be obliged to you.
Say no more, Mr. Crawshaw. I look forward to being entirely frank with you. It will be a pleasure.
You understand, of course, my position. I think I may say that I'm not without reputation in the country, and proud as I am to accept this sacred trust, this money which the late Mr. Anthony Clifton has seen fit, one cannot say why, to bequeath to me. Yet the use of the name Wurzel-Flummery would be excessively awkward.
Excessively.
My object in seeing you was to inquire if there is absolutely essential that the name should go with the money.
Well, you may have the name without the money if you like, but you must have the name.
Well, of course, I have nothing against the name. A good old Hampshire name.
My dear Mr. Crawshaw, you didn't think. You didn't really think anybody had been called Wurzel-Flummery before. Oh, no. No. You and Mr. Meriton were to be the first, the founders of the clan, the designers of the Wurzel-Flummery sporran.
What do you mean, sir? Are you telling me it's not a real name at all?
Oh, it's a name, all right. I know it is because I made it up.
You have the impudence to propose, sir, that I should take a made-up name?
Well, all names are made up sometime or other. Somebody had to think of Adam.
I warn you, Mr. Clifton, that I do not allow this trifling with a serious subject.
It's all so simple, really. You see, my Uncle Anthony was a rather unusual man. He despised money. He was not afraid to put it in its proper place. And the place he put it was a little below golf and a little above classical concerts. If a man said to him, "Would you like to make 50,000 this afternoon?" he would say, well, it would depend on what he was doing. If he were to have a round at Walton Heath, for example, then maybe not.
It's perfectly scandalous to talk of money in this way.
Well, that's how I talked about it. But he didn't find many to agree with him. In fact, he used to say there was nothing, however contemptible, that a man would not do for money. One day, I suggested that if he left a legacy with a sufficiently foolish name attached to it, somebody might be found to refuse it. He laughed at the idea. That put me in my middle. 2 people, I said. Leave the same silly name to 2 people? 2 well-known people, rival politicians say, men whose own names are already public property. Surely they wouldn't both take it. That touched him. Dennis, my boy, you've got it. Upon what vile body should we experiment? We decided on you and Mr. Meriton. And the next thing was to choose the name. I started on all the wrong lines. I began by suggesting names like Porker, Tosh, Bug, Spiffkins, the obvious sort, and my uncle.
How dare you discuss me with your uncle? Sir, how dare you decide in this cold-blooded way whether I'm to be called Tosh or Porker?
My uncle would not hear of Tosh or Porker. He wanted a humorous name. A name he could roll lovingly around his tongue. a name expressing a sort of humorous contempt. Wurzel-Flummery. I can see now the happy ruminating smile which came so often on my Uncle Antony's face in those latter months. He was thinking of his 2 Wurzel-Flummerys. I remember him saying once, it was at the zoo, what a pity it was he hadn't had enough to divide among the whole cabinet. A whole bunch of Wurzel-Flummerys. It would have been rather jolly.
You forced me to say, sir, that was the way you and your uncle used to talk together at the zoo. His death can only be described as a merciful intervention of Providence.
Oh, but I think he must be enjoying all this somewhere, you know. I hope he is. He would have loved this morning. It was his one regret that from the necessities of the case, he could not live to enjoy his own joke. But he had hopes that echoes of it would reach him wherever he might be. It was with some such idea, I fancy, that towards the end he became interested in spiritualism.
Mr. Clifton, I have no interest in the present whereabouts of your uncle or in by what means he has of overhearing a private conversation between you and myself. But if, as you irreverently suggest, he is listening to us, I should like him to hear this, that in my opinion, you are not a qualified solicitor at all, and that you never had an uncle, and that the whole story of the will and the ridiculous condition attached to it is just the tomfool joke of a man whom, by his own admission, wastes most of his time writing unsuccessful farces. And I propose...
Pardon my interrupting, but you said farces, not farces, comedies of a whimsical nature.
Whatever they were, sir, I propose to report the whole matter to the Law Society. And you know your way out, sir.
Then I am to understand you refuse the legacy, Mr. Crawshaw?
What's that?
I'm to understand that you refuse the £50,000?
If the money is really there, I most certainly do not refuse it.
Oh, the money is most certainly there. And the name. Both waiting for you.
Then, sir, I accept them. I feel it is my duty to accept them as a public expression of confidence in the late Mr. Clifton's motives. I repudiate entirely the motives that you have suggested to him, and I consider it a sacred duty to show what I think of your story by accepting the trust which he has bequeathed to me. You will arrange further matters with my solicitor. Good morning, sir.
Mr. Crawshaw, here, drink a glass of water. Mr. Wurzel-Flummery, farewell. May I express the parting wish that your future career will add fresh luster to my name. Exit, Mr. Dennis Clifton, with dignity.
Weatherston Tower in the Great Missenden Canal Company. Bah!
Father, Dick doesn't want to take the money, but I have told him that of course he must. He must, mustn't he?
We needn't drag Robert into it, Viola.
If Richard is by very natural feeling that it would be awkward for me if there were 2 Wurzel-Flummerys in the House of Commons, I should be the last to interfere with his decision. In any case, I don't see what a concern it is of yours, Viola.
But how can we get married if he doesn't take the money?
Married? What does this mean, Richard?
I'm sorry it has come out like this. We ought to have told you before, but anyhow, we were going to have told you in a day or two. Viola and I want to get married.
And what did you want to get married on?
Not very much, I'm afraid.
We're all right now, Father, because we shall have the 50,000 pounds.
Oh, Viola, Viola.
But naturally, this puts a very different complexion on matters.
So of course he must take it, mustn't he, Father?
Well, I can hardly suppose, Richard, that you expect me to entrust my daughter to a man who is so little provident for himself that he throws away 50,000 pounds because of some fanciful objection to the name which goes with it.
You don't understand, Robert.
I understand this, Richard, that if the name is good enough for me, it should be good enough for you.
Oh.
You don't mind asking Viola to take your name, but you consider it an insult if you are asked to take my name.
Viola, do you want to be Mrs. Wurzel-Flummery?
Well, I'm gonna be Miss Wurzel-Flummery anyhow, darling.
Heaven help me. You'll make me take it, but you'll never understand.
Oh, come, Richard. I understand perfectly. All that you were saying about money a little while ago, it's all perfectly true. It's all just what I feel myself. But in practice, we have to make allowances sometimes. We have to sacrifice our ideals for others. I shall be very proud to have you for a son-in-law and to feel that there will be two of us in Parliament together, upholding the honor of the name. Perhaps now that we're to be so closely related, you may come to feel someday that your views could be more adequately put forward from my side of the house.
Go on, Robert. I deserve it.
Well, Margaret will be interested in our news, and you must send that solicitor a line, or perhaps a telephone message would be better. Yes, I think the telephone, Richard, it would be safer.
Come here, Mrs. Wurzel-Flummery.
Not Mrs. Wurzel-Flummery, Mrs. Dick, and soon. Please, darling.
I don't know what I've done, Viola, but you're worth it. And God help me if I ever stop thinking so. Hello?
Now, where did I put those papers? Now, where did I? Oh, I beg your pardon. I left some papers behind.
Dick, you tell him. Goodbye, Mr. Clifton, and thank you for writing such nice letters.
Goodbye, Miss Crawshaw.
Just say it to see how it sounds.
Goodbye, Miss Wurzel-Flummery.
No, not Miss, Mrs.
You don't mean...
Yes. And I'm taking the money after all, Mr. Clifton.
Dear me, what a situation. I wonder how a rough scenario would strike the managers.
Poor Mr. Clifton.
Why poor?
You missed all the best part. You didn't hear what I said to Crawshaw about money before you came.
Was it very... But I expect Uncle Anthony heard. Well, I must be getting on. I wonder if you've noticed any important papers lying about in connection with the Great Mississippi Canal Company. A most intricate case in which my clerk and I. Yes. Well, I shall tell my clerk that we lost the case. He'll be sorry. He'd grown quite fond of that canal. So, you're taking the money, Mr. Merton?
Yes.
And Mr. Crawshaw, too?
Yes.
They are both taking it. Good old Uncle Anthony. He knew. He knew.
Life passes by, I do not know its pleasure or its pain. The spring was here, the spring is here again. The spring will die. Life passes by, the doors of pain and pleasure open wide. The crowd streams in and I am left outside. They know not I.
Yes, I should call that a melancholy song, dear.
It's sung by a melancholy person, Mother.
Why are you that, child?
I want so much that I shall never have.
Well, so do we all.
Why does nothing ever happen? We sit here all day and we sing or do our embroidery and we go to bed and the next day we get up and do the same things over again. And so it goes on. Mother, is that all there is in the world?
It's all there is in our world.
Are we so very poor?
We have the house and very little else.
Well, I wish we were really poor.
You needn't wish, child.
Oh, but I mean, so it wouldn't matter what clothes we wore, so we could wander over the hills and down into the valleys and sleep perhaps in a barn and bathe ourselves in the brook the next morning and that sort of thing.
I don't think I should like that very much. Perhaps I'm peculiar.
Oh, if only I were a boy to go out and make my own way in the world. Would you let me go then, Mother, if I were a boy?
I don't suppose you'd ask me, dear.
Oh, well, we must make the best of it, I suppose. Perhaps one day something will happen. Lads and lasses, what will you sell? What will you sell? 4 stout walls and a roof atop, warm fires gleaming brightly, well-stored cellar and barn and crop, money bags packed tightly, an ordered task and an ordered day, and a sure bed nightly, years which peacefully pass away until death comes lightly. Lads and lasses, what will you buy? What will you buy? Here is a cap to cover your head, a cap with one red feather. Here is a cloak to make your bed warm or winter weather. Here is a satchel to store your wear, strongly lined with leather. And here is a staff to take you there when you go forth together. Lads and lasses, what will you gain? What will you gain? Chatter on roofs and tall elm trees, new spring houses taking, daffodils in an April breeze, golden curtsies making, shadows of clouds across the weald, from hill to valley breaking, the first faint stir which the woodlands yield when the world is waking. Lads and lasses, this is your gain, this is your gain.
Brava! Brava! A vastly pleasing song, vastly well sung. Mademoiselle Nightingale, permit me to felicitate you. The mother of Nightingale also. Mon Dieu, what is voice of a richness, of a purity, to live with it always. Madam, I felicitate you again.
I must ask you, sir, to explain the meaning of this intrusion.
Intrusion? Oh, fie, madam, not intrusion. My feet stand upon the highway. The road, madam, is common to all. I can quote you Rex. What does Rex Cap 27, paragraph 198 say? Via, says Rex, meaning the road. Communus is common. Omnibus, to all, meaning thereby. But perchance I weary you.
Mother, who is he?
Ah, Mademoiselle Nightingale, you may indeed ask. Who is he? Is he the Pope of Rome? Nay, he's not the Pope of Rome. Is he the Cham of Tartary? Nay, he is not the Cham of Tartary. For an were he the Cham of Tartary, then...
I beg you, sir, to tell us as shortly as you can who you are and what you want.
Madam, by nature I am a taciturn man. Silent John I am named by my friends. I am a glum body, a reserved creature. These things you have already noticed. But now I will commit to you a secret, known only to my dearest friends. Uncommunicative as I am by nature, I am still more so when compelled to hold converse with two such ornaments of their sex through a lattice window. Am I getting any nearer the door?
Pray, sir, come in and tell us all about it. I see that we must have your tale.
To be exact, madam, I have two tails who follow me about everywhere. One is of my own poor sex, a man, a thing of whiskers. The other has the honor to belong to that sex which, have I said it, you and mademoiselle so adorn. Have I your ladyship's permission?
Oh, mother, let them come.
Well, I suppose I must have you all.
Madam, I shall never forget this. Though I live to be 93, this will always be engraved upon my memory. My grandchildren, climbing upon my knee, will wonder sometimes of what the old man is thinking. Little will they know, but I will attend you further within.
Mother, something is going to happen. At last.
Oh, child, were you as weary as that?
Madam, your humble and most devoted servants. I have the honor to present to you Her Royal Sweetness, the Princess Carissima, His Flutiness, the Duke of Bogota, and myself, a mere marquis.
Mother, they're wandering minstrels.
I bid you all welcome, sir.
Permit me to expound further. The princess, a courtesy title bestowed by myself last Michaelmas Day, plays upon the fiddle with an unerring beauty, which makes strong men weep. You shall hear her. I pray you have your handkerchiefs ready. His Flutiness the Duke, the title was granted last Candlemas, has a voice of a rare richness. He is cursed with a melancholy disposition, most pleasing. He suffers from a surfeit of rejected love, a most waggish companion withal.
Well, what a shame.
You must not believe all that your highness says, ladies.
I had already learnt that much, sir.
For myself, I play upon the pipe. You shall hear.
The only notes he knows, ladies.
Oh, fie, sir, fie, I protest. Madam, he maligns me. Have I not a G of surpassing splendor, of a fruitiness rarely encountered in this vale of tears? Madam, you must hear my G. Now, where is it? I have it.
Marvelous.
I thank you, sir.
Mother, isn't he splendid?
Would you like my G again, madam?
Not just now. I thank you, sir. Doubtless we shall feel more in need of it a little later on. But tell me, sir, have you no other talent to match the singing and playing of your friends?
He talks.
I had noticed it.
This gift of talking, which Her Royal Sweetness is good enough to credit me, irksome though it is of a man of silent habit like myself, a creature, as you will have noticed, of taciturn disposition, Madam, I have lost that sentence. Have I your gracious permission to begin again?
I think it would be better, sir.
Then to put it shortly, madam...
If you could, sir.
To be completely frank in this matter, madam, I go round with the hat. It is a sordid but necessary business.
Oh, I hope they give you plenty of money.
Enough to support life, mademoiselle. The hungry look which you observe on his flutiness is, as I have explained, due to melancholy.
You are going to perform, aren't you?
Of a surety, mademoiselle. Perhaps I should add that for myself I am resting just now, and that my part of the performance will be limited to nothing more than a note or two upon the pipe.
Sir, you are generous. We shall be glad to hear your friends.
A song, good Master Duke, a song which her royal sweetness will accompany upon the fiddle. Let it end, I pray you, with a G, so that I may bring the thing to a climax upon the last note.
Moreland Hill.
You like that? Very well. Oh, when the wind is in the north, I take my staff and sally forth. And when it whistles from the east, I do not mind it in the east. The warm wind murmurs through the trees, its messages from southern seas. But after all, perhaps the best is that which whispers from the west. Oh, let the wind be what it will, so long as I may walk on moorland hill. The staff that helps to carry me, I caught it from the hazel tree. But once I had a cudgel torn, most circumspectly from the thorn. I know a fellow far from rash, who swears entirely by the ash. And all good travelers invoke a blessing on the mighty oak. Oh, let the wood be what it will, so long as I may walk on moorland hill. Some years ago I gave my heart to Prue until we had to part. Then seeing Susan's pretty face, I left it with her for a space. And Susan had my heart until I wanted it for Mistress Bill. I think, although I am not clear, that Chloe's had it this last year. Oh, let the wench be whom she will, so long as I may walk on moorland hill.
I'm not sure I liked that last verse.
Oh, you mustn't believe all he sings, a cursed melancholy fellow by nature, but waggish withal.
We have to sing what the poets write for us, mademoiselle. Had I written a song myself, it had been about one woman only.
And there would have been 125 verses to it.
Your song was well sung, sir. I thank you for it. Now, will you not play something now?
If you wish it.
You would wish me to accompany her, of course.
It's kind of you, sir, but I think perhaps my daughter.
Yes, of course. I will if I can.
You know this?
Yes, I think so.
Brava, brava.
And now, madam, you have had a sample of all our poor talents, save and except that paltry talent of mine, which in other company concludes such a performance. I pray you tell me what you think of the entertainment.
I have enjoyed it immensely, good Master Johannes. And if you did wish to exercise that talent of yours, of which so far we have only heard.
Nay, nay, madam, I beg you.
Then, sir, I offer you my grateful thanks for your entertainment.
And I too.
Ladies, you are too kind.
Yes?
The fact is, madam, that now we approach, or so to speak, draw nigh, or adjacent. In other words, madam, we are perilously approximate.
Tell her straight out.
Tell her what?
What we've come for.
The Master Johannes, madam, is so accustomed when he goes round with the hat to disguise under a flow of words the fact that money is as necessary to an artist as applause, that he has lost the habit of saying anything in less than 10 sentences.
And yet, I am a taciturn man.
Well, will somebody tell me? For I confess I have been wondering what is behind it all.
Tell her, Johannes.
If you will allow me, madam, but tell me first, did you notice anything lacking in our performance?
No, I don't think so.
Perhaps you, mademoiselle?
It seems to lack a woman's voice, sir.
What intelligence, what profundity! Madam, I felicitate you again on your daughter. Unerringly she has laid her finger on the weak joint in our armor. We have no woman's voice.
Well, sir, I don't see how I can help you.
Madam, you have a nightingale. It has lived in a cage all its life. It looks through the bars sometimes and sees a great world outside, and sighs and turns back to its business of singing. Madam, it would sing better outside in the open air with the other birds.
I don't understand you, sir. Are you referring to my daughter?
There's a stream which runs beyond the road, with a green bank to it. We were seated on that bank, I and my two companions, eating our bread and cheese, and washing it down with draughts from that good stream. We were tired, for we had come over the hills that morning, and it was good to lie on our backs there and watch the little clouds taking shape after shape, and so to dream our dreams. In a little while the road would take us westward, here through a wood banked with primroses, there across a common, or between high spring hedges, with the little stream babbling ever at the side of us. And then evening we would come to an inn where there would be good company, and we would sing and play to them, and they would reward us. It is a pleasant life.
Oh, go on.
Yes, go on, sir.
We were laying on our backs thus, madam, when we heard the nightingale. Duke, says I, it is early for the nightingale. His flutiness removes his cap from his face, takes a squint at the sun, and says, monstrous early, good Master Johannes, and clasps his cap back again. What says you, fiddler, in this matter of nightingales? Is it possible, says I, the sun being where it is, and nightingales being what they are, to wit, nightingales? It's not a nightingale, says fiddler dreamily. It's a girl. Then, says I, jumping up, it is a girl we want. She must put the red feather in her cap and come her ways with us. Madam, your humble servant.
Oh, mother, you will let me go, won't you? I must. He's quite right. I am caged here. Oh, you will let me see something of the world before I grow old.
Yes, let her come. If she feels like that, she ought to come.
We shall take great care of her, madam, as if she were our own sister.
Oh, what do you think of cider as a drink, Master Johannes?
Cider, there's a drink. Oh, I could talk to you about cider, glum body as I am by nature, having been, as it were, taciturn from birth. Yet of cider I could talk to you.
Ours is considered very good cider. Take them, child, and give them such refreshment as they want. They have deserved it for their entertainment.
Of course, mother. Come this way, please.
Cider, cider, cider,
cider. Master Johannes, a word with you, if you please, sir.
But certainly, madam, the cider will be all the better for the expectation.
Sit down, please. Master Johannes, who are you, all of you?
I thought I explained, madam. Her royal sweetness, Princess Carissima, his flutiness, the Duke of Bogota, and myself, a humble marquis. We may be referred to collectively as the Red Feathers. For myself, I am sometimes called Silent John, being of a close disposition.
Whatever you are called, you are, I think, a man of the world, and you will understand that if I am to trust my daughter to you, for however little a time, I must know something more about you.
Madam, I will make a confession to you, a confession I have never yet made to man, woman, or child. I am 46 years of age. It is, in fact, my birthday. Were I to begin to tell you something about myself, starting from that day, 46 years ago, when I was born, were I to begin, well, madam, I am only too ready to begin. It is a subject I find vastly pleasant. But, shall I begin?
Would you make it so long, the story, sir?
The tongue is an unruly member, and to one who has but 3 notes upon the pipe, and yet desires to express himself, talking is a great comfort.
I said you were a man of the world, sir. May I say now that I think you must be a man of our world?
I am a man of many worlds, but if it would comfort your mother's heart to know that your daughter will be in good company, I think I can give you that comfort.
Is that all you can give me?
Madam, I will tell you a story. No, quite a short one. Once upon a time there was a certain noble gentleman, a baron of estates and family. Conceiving himself to be in love, he dared to put it to the touch to win or lose it all. I regret to say that he lost it all. In a fit of melancholy, he abjured society, cursed all women, and took to the road. A pleasant, melancholy gentleman. I made him a duke.
You mean he really is?
We will name no names, madam. I doubt I have no right to speak of him to another. It is just a story.
Poor child, she is not happy here. We live so quietly, we have no neighbors. I have wondered what to do. It seemed that I could do so little. If only I could be sure. Master Johannes, do you like the look of this house with its little stream opposite and the green bank running down on which one may lie on one's back and look up at the sky?
Did we not single it out above all others by having our bread and cheese outside it?
Will you all stay with me for a little? I think I can find room for you. Before I can lend my daughter to you, I feel that I must know something of you. I think that is the best way, is it not? The cider is good, you know.
Madam, we need say no more.
Are we going to practice something?
Do. The cuckoo comes in April, sings his song in May.
Changes his tune in the middle of June, and then he flies away.
The cuckoo comes when April's here. He is not very good, I fear. He goes and takes another nest. Perhaps he does it for the best. Cuckoo.
When April's over, he begins repenting of his former sins. From tree to tree he takes his way, but this is all he finds to say. Cuckoo.
By June he gets a trifle flat, which is not to be wondered at. And critical observers know the huskiness about the throat. Cuckoo.
Alas, he does not stay for long, but other birds take up the song of summer, gently following the wild and happy days of spring.
Oh.
Listen,
What?
What?
didn't I hear somebody say cider?
Oh, singer,
Here I am.
sing something with me?
Yes.
He does not know I love him, he does not care. The sky is blue above him, the road is there. For those who dare. Alas, why should he care?
She does not know I love her, she does not know. The sky is blue above her, the song winds blow. The violets blow. Alas, how should she know?
Yet those who sing about the spring, oh say it should bring two lovers together. Oh where will you find a pair so matched as you and I love? Come rain or shine, come wet or fine, if you are mine, what matter the weather? Oh take my hand and kiss me and confess that you are my love.
She does not know I love her, I guess she knows. The sky is blue above her, the bust is closed. The first wild rose. Ah, yes, she knows, she knows.
He cares not that I love him, ah yes he cares. The sky is blue above him, a thrush declares. The world is theirs. Ah yes, how much he cares.
Yet those who sing about the spring all say it should bring two lovers together. Oh where will you find a pair so matched as you and I love? Come rain or shine, come wet or fine, if you are mine, what matter the weather? Oh, take my hand and kiss me and confess that you are my love.
It's a pretty song.
The words I thought were good. I liked the words.
Who thinks of the words of a song if the tune be pretty?
Ah, but if the heart of the singer be in the words?
Tell me about Chloe,
Chloe?
or whatever her name was.
I'm not sure that I understand this conversation.
I mean the first one.
Ah, I'm not sure that I like this conversation.
She was the first, wasn't she? The one who made you renounce the world and take to the road?
Her name was not Chloe.
What was it?
Why? Why rake up the dead ashes of the past? I was but a boy. It was 5 months ago. Besides, her name was Penelope.
You still remember it, though it was so long ago?
I could have pretended to have forgotten if it would have pleased you better.
I'm not interested.
Well, I didn't start the subject. Perhaps as neither of us is interested, I had better withdraw. Since we are to start this afternoon, I have much to see about. With your permission.
Don't go. I'm sorry. I've been unkind.
Shall we practice that other song? Our voices agree, if our hearts do not.
Oh, don't say that. We must be friends.
Only friends?
Tell me about her.
There's not much to tell, dear. I thought she loved me. Perhaps that was why I thought I loved her. When I told her, she pretended to be surprised. I don't think she was surprised. She was very pretty.
And hard?
Oh, it's not for me to say anything against her. It is through her that I came here.
When you came here the other day, had you forgotten her?
Oh. Oh, let the wench be whom she will, so long as I may walk on moorland hill. Did I not say so on that very first day?
Of course, I know very little of the world, but I do wonder sometimes if people who sing about the joys of wandering are really enjoying it all the time.
Is Johannes about?
No.
Well, then I will be frank with you. Just lately, I have been wondering too.
Oh.
I have a house. You would like my house. I have a park. You would like the park. Horses to ride and jewels to wear. Sometimes I go to London and see the king. Oh, you would like London.
I've never been to London.
Oh, sweetheart, all that I have. Be careful. Fiddler just went past the window. Oh, take my hand and kiss me and confess
that you are my love.
Yes, I think we have it pretty well now. It is a good song. Ah, Fiddler, are you there? What do you think of it?
Isn't it time to start?
To start? Ah, yes, we start this afternoon. Well, we've had a pleasant holiday and must get to work again.
And I'm coming with you.
It is settled?
Oh, yes, I think so.
It's the best life. Play something.
That's all you want? Just you and your fiddle and the open road?
It's the best life.
Aha! What did I hear? Did I hear our loquacious fiddler perorating upon life? Life, quoth she, with much argument and circumstantial matter. Life, she continued, making her points singly and one by one, thus keeping the business in its true perspective. Life is, well, what is life?
When do we start, Johannes?
Are you so eager to be gone?
We've been here 8 days.
8 days, and Troy was besieged for 11 years. 8 days, why I could talk for 8 days without taking breath, and by nature I am a glum, silent man. Nay, nay, say not to me 8 days. 8 days will not make a man grow old, or a woman lose her beauty. Madam, I kiss your hands. Were I of less girth, I would flit through the window and fall upon my knees at your feet. As it is, I shall enter by the door in the usual way. I have your permission?
You asked my permission a week ago. You do not need to ask it now.
It has been a happy week. The week has liked me well.
You take the road again this afternoon? Your plan still holds?
They say so, lady.
Who say so? Is not Master Johannes the master of his company? Who say so?
The birds. I held converse with a cuckoo bird this morning. Cuckoo, he said, in this manner, meaning, as I gathered, "O fool!" I bowed low to him, and "Pardon, bird," said I, "but I would have you tell me why I am a fool." He answered thus in parables, "Cuckoo."
And what did that mean?
It meant there's no fool like an old fool.
Well, sir?
Madam, I am a man of good family. Although I quarrel with my good family, I left them many years ago and took to the road. I've seen something of the world since then, but I think I must always have had at the back of my mind some dim picture of what a home was, some ancient memory, perhaps. That memory has been very strong within me these last days.
You have liked my home, Master Johannes?
I have liked it well. Well, we start this afternoon.
You want my daughter?
Not your daughter, madam.
What is it you want? Are you so backward in asking? It is not like the Master Johannes who came to my house 8 days ago.
Madam, though I have wandered about the world, I have saved some pennies in my time, a few trifling coins, enough for middle age, since I've had the great honor of knowing you.
Yet those who sing about the spring.
Oh, God bless that poor young fool. Madam, I entreat you.
Another time, dear Johannes. Another time you must tell me all.
Friend, we are full of joy.
Very, very joyful, Master Johannes.
Something is stirring in our middle-aged blood. I feel years younger.
I have only just been born.
Shall we take another turn?
At your pleasure.
What do you think has happened to us?
I wonder.
I suppose the fact that we are going off this afternoon, the joy of returning to our old life is affecting us.
I suppose so. Yes. Yes, that must be it.
This cauliflower existence, this settled life, which even the least enterprising cabbage would find monotonous, we've had more than enough of it, my friend.
Yes. I sigh to think how we have wasted these 8 days.
However, heaven be praised. We are for the road this afternoon.
Heaven be praised. It is a grand life.
Of course, if you came to me and said, Johannes, you said, I left my home in a fit of melancholy 5 months agone. The melancholy is cured. I will return home again. Why, I would say, God bless you, Master Duke. Go your way. Well, I can understand such a thing happening to a man of your age, not born to the wandering as I am.
Bless you, Johannes. You are a true gentleman.
Say no more, say no more.
But I cannot accept this sacrifice. I pledged myself to serve you for a year, and I'll keep my pledge.
Wait a minute, Master Duke. I have myself thought of retiring these many months past. Indeed, it was only for your sake.
No, I cannot allow it. It's only for my sake that you're saying this. We will take the road this afternoon. Indeed, I would infinitely prefer it. I am enamored of the wandering life.
It is a great life. It means everything to me. I knew it, I knew it. You and the wandering life.
You too, Johannes. You've had enough of it. Sweetheart.
Is it all right?
Everything's all right, beloved.
You've told him.
It couldn't have fallen out better. He too was tired of wandering and wanted to settle down.
I told Mother. She seemed glad. You know, I think she seems younger about something.
Are we starting this afternoon?
Oh, Fiddler, dear, do you mind very much? We aren't coming at all.
We are getting married.
I thought so.
But you will come and stay with us sometimes. Oh, say you will.
Of course you will.
There's Johannes. I expect we shall be starting this afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, companions in arms, knights and ladies of the road, comrades all, I have the honor to make an announcement to you. The wandering company of the Red Feathers is determined from this date, likewise disbanded, or as others would say, dissolved. What means this, Master Johannes, I hear you say? Who has done this thing? Ladies and gentles all, I answer you that young Cupid has done this thing. With unerring aim he has loosed his arrows. With the same happy arrow he has pierced the hearts of this gracious lady and myself. While yonder gallant gentleman, I name no names, but the perspicacious will perceive whom I mean, is about to link his life with the charming maiden who stands so modestly by his side. There is one other noble lady present to whom I have not yet referred.
I think I must go. Goodbye and thank you.
Oh, wait a moment, dear.
Noble lady to whom I have not yet referred, I will not hide from you the fact that she plays upon the fiddle with an elegance rarely to be heard. It is the earnest wish of my future wife and myself that she should take up her abode with us.
It's very kind of you, but I don't...
Mother, she's going to stay with us. She promised.
It's sweet of you to ask her, dear, but I think it would be much more suitable that she should live with us.
We should love to have her, and she could come and see you whenever she liked.
I was going to suggest that she should live with us and come and see you sometimes.
I have it. What say you to this? For 6 months, making in all 26 weeks of the year, she shall live, reside, dwell, or as one might say, take up her habitation with us. Whereas for the other 6 months... What's that?
Bravo, bravo. Thank you. I know that the audience is at home and you're all clapping for this wonderful cast and the job they've done. I'm John Gardner, I'm the director. I'd like to thank you all for watching our show. If you enjoyed the show, please consider making a donation to MAD so we can carry on doing online plays like this. And we are all, of course, looking forward to the days when we can go back to the stage in the rec center and do shows again on stage. So thank you again for watching.